So obviously in those areas it's easy because the teacher speaks the language. But we're talking about, we have students that are not in bilingual, 30% of the students are not in bilingual programs. So for those students, it's very important for them to be able to have access to that vocabulary in their language. Otherwise, to make meaning is very difficult. So, but we did realize, because when you do an item analysis from the regions in some of the multiple choice questions in earth science or living environment, we found out that a lot of those kids who are not in the bilingual program, that they were struggling more with content-specific terms. Photosynthesis, gerrymandering, this type of and it's also studies too in US history. So we brought that to the teachers, and it's just like, this is something that needs to be addressed. So how do we adjust this? So obviously, the first thing is recognizing, again, the what. Recognizing that what's happening, that needs assessment. So knowing that, then the teachers will say, oh, okay, so I can, I'm interested in learning more about this. And that's where the inquiry process, always has to be about not just the diagnostics. It has to be about, once you find out what are the trends, what are the patterns, what are the needs, then what are you going to do about this? And for example, the physical, many teachers, even though we use the SIOP model in our school, there are many teachers who are not trained to teach language. So the inquiry process is an opportunity for professional development, for teachers of language to share strategies, to teach vocabulary and to teach reading, writing, and also to summarize. So that's very important for the teachers to know that, for lack of a better way of putting it, that they're getting something out of the process. This is not just something to do because the DOE wants you to do that, or because there is a quality review coming. This has to be something, if it's going to work. Otherwise, it's just going to be the source of a lot of resistance. But once they see the usefulness, and that it has impact on the student learning, that they can see, oh, I adjusted this or I used this, and guess what? In the next test, or in the next formative assessment, I realized that there was an improvement, that they can, in fact. And now, and the other thing that is important is the inquiry teams can, we have a core inquiry team of the facilitators, and we select the academic vocabulary for the whole school. So that, it's across the board. It's not just one team doing these words and this. So we select, because they're organized by, in our school we're not organized by grade level, we're organized by ESL level. So that's how we do it.
Well, hello. I want to thank our panelists. Please, let's give a big round of applause. Thank you for sharing your experience. And now we have another panel. So thank you. So the second panel, they're going to focus on bilingual structures and pedagogy. And we have four schools represented. So I want to call Mr. Patrick Kelly from Urban Science Academy. He's here, and I have the names here. So is Mr. Kelly here? Yes. Okay. And then we have Mr. Rafa Cruz from MS 331 as well. And we have Miss Kathy Fine from Manhattan Bridges. And we have Joan Omar or Sue Greca from John Dodd Middle School from Freeport. Are we all here? Maybe. I don't know if Jackie Benjamin is going to be presenting in this part. Yes, okay, so she's here. Perfect. So we asked our panelists to talk about bilingual pedagogy or pedagogy in general and bilingual structures. So are we okay? Starting from Mr. Kelly on, and everybody will have 7 minutes, and Tatiana is going to be the timekeeper.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Kelly. My school is by Yankee Stadium. It is pretty much a classic inner city picture. High poverty, high crime rates, spectacular kids. I mean, it's wonderful, wonderful children. In the skinny on what we've done as a result of the work that we've done here at CUNY over the last year is that now we have a dual language program in my school. We are teaching native language arts. And I could stop there and tell you, like, that's it. In terms of the structural changes and the pedagogy of the school, we are now at the point where we are committed to no longer ignoring the fact that other languages are as important as English in life. That other languages recognized in our school are taught as valuable and important. And so there's been a conscious shift in practice to acknowledge that reality. And it's been a privilege and really quite wonderful to undergo a sea change in my own thinking and to lead that change in my school. Because now the conscious acknowledgement of that fact kind of changes a lot of things in the culture of the building, where there is a recognition of the value of the languages that our children bring to them from their own lives. I could talk to you about the history of the school and the different iterations of language instruction we've had as we struggled with ELs and their learning of English. But I am very proud to tell you that even though we will probably take another beating on the state test this year and we'll probably get kicked around the year after, we are committed to acknowledging the fact that our Spanish-speaking children should be bilingual when they leave us, and it should not be our job to eradicate their bilingualism. Now, there have been a number of challenges in this. It is a shift in thinking for a great many people in our organization, among families and children and teachers, because parents, some of our parents, our parents get nervous when we instruct their children in Spanish. They want their kids to become Americans and they want them to speak English, and they're not worried that they remain in Spanish. And so there's been an educative process with our families as well, and for a number of our teachers. And that's my fault that I didn't properly go through the professional development last year as I was going through it, where they have some resistance as well, because they learned English in a particular way that doesn't reflect what we understand, what the research tells us are the best practices for learning. So that's it in a nutshell. If any of you are by Yankee Stadium and you're looking to visit a school, we're there. 164th and Teller Avenue, about a 10-minute walk. And you're all welcome to come and see us. I'm very grateful to the CUNY folks. It is, yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, which is longer than some of you have been alive. And people ask me why I continue to do it, and it's because I am continuing to learn. And there is just immense joy in serving the children that I get to serve. So thank you very much. Happy holidays.
So I am Sarah Cruz. I'm right up the street from my colleague Mr. Kelly in the Bronx at the Bronx School of Young Leaders, a middle school, K-6 to 8 school. I was happy to be on a panel that's talking about structures. I think one of the major skills of a principal is to be a systems thinker and to think about the structures within the school and how they support what our goals are. Today I have a picture of a bridge because I like the metaphor of that and thinking about the structures that are in place to support the goals that we have for our emerging bilingual students at our school. So I'm not going to be talking very much about content and not a huge amount about pedagogy, but mostly about structures.